Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Continue with Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami. So we are on page 4. Overview of Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Prabhupada. Okay? You there?
Page 2.
Oh, is it? Sorry, here on the computer is different.
Page 2.
Okay, sorry. So I won't refer to pages anymore. Only confusing. Laghu Bhagavatamritadi ke karughanana. Laghu Bhagavatamritadi ke karughanana. Okay, anyway. Sarvatra Karila Vraja Vilasa Varnana. Who can count the rest of the books headed by the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 141. So here Srila Prabhupada gives a short synopsis of the whole work. The Laghu Bhagavatamrita is divided into two parts. The first is called the Nectar of Krishna, and the second, the Nectar of Devotional Service. The importance of Vedic evidence is stressed in the first part. So this is because you cannot establish anything, any truth, unless you have some evidence. So this is the beginning of all discourses normally in the Vedic tradition. First of all, you have to establish on the basis on which you make your presentation. For example, if in the court the attorneys, the lawyers, they argue in front of the judge on the basis of the evidence. And what's the evidence? It's the law. So they're quoting the law. So this is accepted by all parts as the proof. So in the same way here, in the Shastric studies, first of all, we have to establish what is our proof. There should be a body of knowledge accepted by all parts as authoritative, and on the basis of this body of knowledge, any decision can be made and any points can be established. And here, what is the evidence that we have in our context? What is how we establish any point that we want to establish on the basis of what? Bhagavatam, yes, and Veda in general. So this is our evidence. Whatever is stated in the Veda is true. In Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter, when Krishna describes the qualities of the Brahmanas, he says that Shama Dhamma Tapa Shaucham Kshantir Arjavam Evacha Gyanam Vigyanam Astikyam. Astikyam means religiosity, and religiosity is defined by Ramanujacharya as the firm conviction that, independent of mundane logic, that whatever is stated in the Veda is true. This is religiosity, and this is acceptance of the authority of the Veda. So the first thing Rupa Goswami will do here, he will establish the evidence, and in Sanskrit this is called pramana. Pramana means evidence, and prameya means what is established on the basis of the pramana. So the pramana is the Veda, and on this basis there will be points that he will make. According to, The importance of the Vedic evidence is stressed in the first part, and this is followed by a description of the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Sri Krishna, and descriptions of his pastimes, and expansions in Svamsha, personal form, and Vibhinamsha. So what is Svamsha and what is Vibhinamsha? So now, don't get intimidated by this. Now, in this short synopsis, we'll hear many Sanskrit terms. Don't mind. Gradually, we'll explain all of them. And even if you don't get it, don't remember it. Don't be afraid. Svamsha means personal expansion of Krishna, and Vibhinamsha means separate or Delena. How do you say this? Independent, not independent, we're all dependent, but separate. That means the living entities. So we are also expansions of Krishna, but we are separate from Him because we are different individualities, although we are dependent on Him. According to different absorptions, the incarnations are called Avesha and Tadekatma. Okay, we'll just skip this. The first incarnation is divided into 3 Purusha avatars, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So these are here we are talking about the different expansions of Krishna, and these 3 are called Purusha avatars. That means the expansions of Krishna which deal with the material creation. The first one, Mahavishnu, from his body emanates all the universe, all the different universes. They come from the pores of his transcendental body, and then these universes, they grow and they become enormous, and then the same Mahavishnu enters into each universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and then he also expands and enters into the hearts of all living entities in the universe. So this is Paramatma, or the Super Soul, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. We'll go through all this in details later. Then there are the 3 incarnations of the modes of nature, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Shiva. All the paraphernalia used in the service of the Lord is transcendental, beyond the 3 qualities of this material world. This is interesting. In Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir. Okay, here it goes. Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and then which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. When we perform spiritual activities, for example, now we are talking on Shastra, everything that we are using as paraphernalia becomes spiritualized. For example, this computer now is spiritual. Although it has material propensities, qualities, that means it has a beginning and an end, it's not eternal. But right now, because we're using it in spiritual activity, it is right now spiritualized. In the same way, our bodies, although they're material, when we use them in devotional service, they become also spiritualized. What is the analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives usually in this regard?
Iron rolled in the fire.
Yes. Iron is not fire, but when we place it in fire, then after a while it becomes red hot and acts like fire. In the same way, our bodies, our minds, this phone, everything that we're using in Krishna service becomes spiritualized. And we continue. There is also a description of 25 Lila avatars. What is Lila avatara? The Lila avatar. What is it? The Lila avatar. These are the pastime incarnations of Krishna. Lila means pastime. Because Krishna is enjoying all the time. And he enjoys in different ways, through different moods. And these moods and different circumstances, they appear as different avatars. Okay, there is also a description of 25 Lila avatars, namely Chatursana, the Kumaras, Narada, Varaha, Matsya, Yagya, Naranarayana Rishi, Kapila, Dattatreya, Hayagriva, Hamsa, Prishnigarbha, Rishabha, Prithu, Nrisimha, Kurma, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Hare Krishna, Vamana, Parashurama, Dasharati, Krishna Dvaipayana, Balarama, Vasudeva, Buddha and Kalki. So these are different avatars of Krishna for different pastimes.
Yes. New avatars, they appear just for a short period and they do something and they disappear, yeah? Like for example the Guna avatars, they are present long periods of time.
Throughout the whole
creation, because they have to do job. But the Lila avatars, they appear, they do whatever pastime they have to perform, and then they disappear.
And but then they appear again. We'll hear later that many of those Lila avatars, they appear several times during one day of Brahma. For example, Kurma appears 14 times, and Vamanadeva appears 3 times every day. Every single day of Brahma, Vamana appears 3 times. And every time he takes away the property of the demons and gives it to the devotees. So and also we have to keep in mind that we don't know about all the activities of these spiritual forms because they are eternal. They may appear temporarily, but actually they are eternal. So whatever they do, we know part of it only. Therefore, revealed scriptures. Something is revealed, we'll talk a little later about Aprakata and Prakata Lila. Some knowledge is revealed, some part of the knowledge is not revealed, depends on our qualification. So some devotees, they see all these incarnations, like the Jayadeva Goswami in this famous song we sing every morning. You know what we sing when we worship in Shingarev, Tavakara Kamala Vare. This is from a song written by Jayadeva Goswami called Dashavatara Stotra, and this is just one of the shlokas. He describes all 10 avatars, the main avatars, and then in the last shloka, he says Jayadeva sees all of those, and he glorifies them. So he speaks about himself. Well, he sees all these pastimes. In the same way, Valmiki Muni, the author of the original Ramayana, it is said that he saw all the pastimes of Ramachandra, everything from the beginning till the end, although it's endless, but anyway, these revealed pastimes. He saw everything that happened, everything that Ramachandra did with other devotees, with Sita Devi or alone. So he saw everything. And therefore he wrote Ramayana. And therefore this is authorized scripture. Okay. Yes, Tushpu. It's like you said. So there are also 14 incarnations of Manu. Yagya, Vibhu, Satyasena, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vishvaksena, Dharmasetu, Sudama, Yogeshwara, and Brihad Bhanu. So these are the Manvantara avatars. Manvantara is the duration of the reign of Manu. Okay, so we have the day of Brahma. Day of Brahma is 1,000 times Divi Yuga. Divi Yuga means the 4 yugas together. Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali, when you put them together, it adds up to 4,320,000 years. So 1,000 times this Divi Yuga is 1 day of Brahma. Okay? And the night of Brahma has the same duration. So inside one day of Brahma, there are 14 manvantaras. And these are large periods of time. And during these periods, when Manu changes, the lawgiver of mankind, all the prominent demigods also change. These are posts in the universe. Just like we have election now, we just had the election in the US, and now the president will change in a couple of weeks, and then all administration will change. He'll bring his own people now, and everything will change. It happens every 4 years in our context, but in the universe it happens 14 times in the day of Brahma, major change. And all these demigods' positions like Indra, Varuna, Vayu, etc., the 7 great sages, the personalities who take these posts, these offices, they change. Yes?
Do they change the laws of Manu?
No, the law never change. But there is always some adjustment because there is new Manu. He has to give again the law of the mankind. It's always time, place, circumstance, but the main things never change.
So he writes new Manu Samhita.
Yeah, I guess he consults with the previous Manu Samhita and with the previous authorities, but it never change. The rules are always the same.
Because these are the laws according to which the universe is.
Therefore, it's called eternal. Therefore, it is called Sanatana Dharma. It doesn't change. It's not like our laws. When I was a student in the law school, and they were changing laws so often that when we were getting ready for our exams, when we were listening to the lectures, there was one law. By the time we had to go to the exam, there was different law. And sometimes you get in like awkward situation. You say something, but according to the old law, and then the professor tells you, no, it's not anymore like that. Yeah, I had this. It happened to me. So, these are different incarnations of Krishna who appear, therefore there are 14, they appear during different Manvantaras. They're called Manvantara Avatara, and they appear in order to protect Indra, who is the Kshatriya, the manager of the universe amongst the demigods. And often he needs help because the demons are always trying to create disturbance. So like in this fantasy, science fiction movies, you often have this, the main hero, the protagonist, who is that's Indra, and he defends the weak against evil, but sometimes he becomes so overwhelmed by the enemy's forces that he needs help, and there is always, usually they call this guy the guardian. So there's some guy in the mountain who just lives alone and doesn't look like somebody important, but then our main action hero, he has to go there and humbly ask for advice, and this guy, the guardian, he has some mystic powers, so he empowers him in some special way, and then he goes back and defeats everyone. So this is the Manvantara Avatara. This is special incarnation of Krishna who, for the period of the Manvantara, he protects Indra. And we'll hear later, for example, for the third one, so Yagya, Vibhu, Satyasena. Satyasena was born as son of Dharmaraj, of Yamaraj, and he was friend with Indra, So they are both friends. And they together defeated the demons in this particular Manvantara. Alright, so there are also 4 incarnations for the 4 yugas. And their colors are described as white, red, blackish, and black. Sometimes yellow, as in the case of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are different types of... Okay, so here we have the 4 yugas, and for each yuga there is incarnation of Krishna. Satya Yuga is white, then Dvapara is red, Treta is blackish, and black is for the Kali Yuga. So now Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not one of those. He is Krishna himself. In one Kali Yuga, unique for the whole day of Brahma, Krishna himself appears, like in this case of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Usually, the incarnation is black, and it's not Krishna himself. It is one of these Yuga avatars. But now in this Kali Yuga, we had the good fortune to be able to witness. We didn't witness it directly, but it happened quite recently. Krishna himself appeared 5,000 years ago, and then 500 years ago Mahaprabhu appeared. So we are very lucky. Because this happens only once in the day of Brahma. Only once. Millions of years, billions of years, yes.
And this black incarnation gives the holy name?
Gives the Yuga Dharma usually.
Which is holy name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't give pure love of God usually. It gives love of God, but not in the way Mahaprabhu did. Not this very confidential meaning and intimate dealings with the Lord. He doesn't give this. It gives Vaikuntha. Prema. The categories called Avesha, Prabhava, Vaibhava, and Para constitute different situations for the different incarnations. According to specific pastimes, the names are spiritually empowered. There are also descriptions of the difference between the powerful and the power, and the inconceivable activities of the Supreme Lord. Sri Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and no one is greater than him. He is the source of all incarnations. In the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, there are descriptions of his partial incarnations, a description of the impersonal Brahman effulgence, actually the bodily effulgence of Sri Krishna, the super excellence of Sri Krishna's pastimes as an ordinary human being with 2 hands, and so forth. There is nothing to compare with the 2-armed form of the Lord. In the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Jagat, there is no distinction between the owner of the body and the body itself. In the material world, the owner of the body is called the soul, and the body is called a material manifestation. In the Vaikuntha world, however, there is no such distinction. So this is clear, the difference between the material and spiritual world. Here we distinguish between the body and the soul. The soul is eternal, we are the soul, and the body is just a temporary machine that has been given to us to use for a certain amount of time. And it has a beginning and an end. But in the spiritual world, there is no difference between the body and the soul. The body is us also. So in the spiritual world, you don't have to speculate anymore. Who am I? You just have to look in the mirror. Because now we're always speculating. What is my eternal Sarup in the Golok Vrindavan? Maybe I'm a gopi, maybe I'm a cowherd boy, maybe I'm a monkey, or a cow, or tree of grass, or whatever. But there you don't have to. You don't need to speculate anymore. You are who you are. You just, and then you can freely become attached to Krishna, to the spiritual forms of the devotees. Here in the material world, we're always worried. You know, we don't want to become attached to anything because everything is material. And then, if you're attached to something material, guess what will happen? You will have to suffer. But there, you don't need to. Lord Shri Krishna is unborn, and his appearance as an incarnation is perpetual. That means these incarnations appear eternally. Krishna's pastimes are divided into two parts, manifest and unmanifest. For example, when Krishna takes his birth within this material world, his pastimes are considered to be manifest. So this is Prakat Lila, the technical term. When God comes to this world and everybody can see him, this is called manifest pastimes.
Even if they don't understand that he's God.
Yeah, most of them they don't understand, but still they can see. Like there's a description in Bhagavatam when Krishna went from the Pandavas' capital to his own place in Dwarka, he passed by many different countries and everybody could see. He gave darshan to everybody. And people would come on the road and look at Krishna. So this is manifest pastime. For example, however, when he disappears, one should not think that he is finished, for his pastimes are going on in an unmanifest form. So what that means? Right now, here we in the holy Dham of Sridham Mayapur, and there are pastimes here going on of Panchtattva. We don't see them usually because we're still not qualified, but they are being performed right now. And some fortunate devotees can see them. Varieties of humors, however, are enjoyed by the devotees of Lord Krishna during his manifest pastimes. After all, his pastimes in Mathura, Vrindavana and Dwaraka are eternal and are going on perpetually somewhere in some part of the universe. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 141 purport. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that in one purport, Srila Prabhupada, I think, was quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who explains that, like Krishna, he manifests his pastimes in one of the universes in the material world. And let's say he manifests the pastime that he is born and he is growing, and when he becomes 1 year old, this incarnation of Krishna, like the baby Krishna, who is between 0 and 1 year old, this incarnation, this form disappears from there and appears in the next universe and performs the same pastime
And
there.
there he's born there.
Yes.
Oh, so.
And then the next incarnation, who is Krishna from 1 year to 2 years old, appears in the first universe. But it becomes so fast that you get the understanding that Krishna is just present here all the time and he's just growing. 0, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But actually what's happening is, one eternal form appears, performs certain pastimes, then disappears and appears in the next universe, and in this universe appears the next form, and then next form, and then next form. So it's...
This very much reminds me about the movie, because movie is actually pictures.
Yeah.
That the movie, like moving pictures, that's what it is. And,
Something like
and we cannot actually discern that this is just different pictures. We think they're moving. So in the same way, Krishna is...
I think he was giving the example of the sun.
Yeah.
That, let's say, the sun now appears here. You have sunrise, and the sun appears, and we see the sunrise. And then the next moment we don't see the sunrise anymore here. We see the next phase of the sun. But let's say, few minutes western direction, they'll see the sunrise. And then a few minutes more western direction, they'll see the sunrise. So like that, the pastimes of Krishna, they're constantly circumambulating all the universes in the creation for 1 day of Brahma. So in 1 day of Brahma, Krishna will perform his pastimes in one universe. Then next day of Brahma, again he will appear and perform his pastimes in the same universe.
So then we can kind of calculate how many universes there are, because it appears it's finite number.
We can speculate.
Can speculate on it. All right. So this was the Srila Prabhupada's overview of Laghu Bhagavatamrita. And now, overview of Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Bhagavatamrita Kana, Part 1, The Sweetness of Krishna, Chapter 1. Defining the forms of the Lord. 1. The chief among all forms defined in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, who is the supremely independent form of greatness and sweetness, is Sri Krishna. He is called Swayam Rupa. Swayam means his own, my own. Rupa means form. 2. The form which has almost equal powers is called Vilasa. An example is the Lord of Vaikuntha. The form which possesses less powers than the Vilasa form is called its Amsha. Matsya and Kurma are examples. Okay, so we have Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, and then he expands. And when the expansion is almost equal to the original form, this is Vilasa. And this is, the example is the Lord of Vaikuntha. Who is the Lord of Vaikuntha?
Vishnu.
Yes. Alright?
Narayan.
Narayan, Vishnu, Sankarshan.
So he is almost as powerful.
Almost. Yes.
And Kurma and Matsya are less.
Yes, so there is a gradation. Krishna, Narayana, Kurma, Matsya, and other forms they are the same person, but he decides to manifest less powers. You see?
But the examples with Rama and Narasimha, they were.
Yeah, we will talk about them a little later. They are in the special category. It's called Paravasta. Paravasta means there are three in this category: Nrsimha, Ramachandra, and Krishna. And each reveals more and more qualities and powers until Krishna. There is nothing higher than Krishna. He is on the top. Okay, then 3. A form which has an endowment of a single power is called Avesha. An example is Vyasa. So here, it would appear that Vyasa is Vishnu Tattva, right? Because he is not counted in the Shakti Avesha avatars a little later. Who is Vyasa? Vyasa is the literary incarnation of Krishna. He compiled, he edited the Vedic knowledge for us people in Kali Yuga. And Vyasa is also a post. There is always a different person in every Kali Yuga who takes this post. Sometimes Krishna himself takes the post. Chapter 2. Description of the Purusha avatars and Guna avatars. So these are different avatars of Krishna, Purusha avatars. 4. There are 3 types of avatara: Purusha avatara, Guna avatara, and Lila avatara. So Purusha avatara, these are the 3 Vishnu forms who create the material creation. Guna avatara are the avatars that control the 3 gunas, and Lila avatara are the avatars who perform different pastimes. 5. Among the Purusha avatars, the first is the creator of Mahat Tattva, Karanarnavarshai. This is another name of Mahavishnu. So what is Mahat Tattva? And what happens here? So Mahavishnu, the first Purusha avatara, agitates the primordial material energy by glancing over her. That's what happens. And this glance of the Lord injects in the womb of the material nature all the jigas, us, because we are resting in his body. In between the creations, there is just like now we are active during the day, and then at night we are comatose. We're in deep slumber because we're very tired. So this happens in a small scale, mini scale here, but it also happens in the universal scale. After many days of Brahma and many lifetimes of Brahma, is it? this pralaya happens after the universe is destroyed.
That's the final one.
It's the final pralaya. So then there is the
Every
night.
day, every day of Brahma.
Yeah. So there is the night, and then all living entities are absorbed in the body of Vishnu, and this is like a big, how you would call this, spawnia, big dormitory,
Sleeping.
hostel, and everybody sleeps there for a very long time. And then when Vishnu decides that it's time for new creation, then he injects all of us, living entities, into the womb of the material energy, and then this agitates the material energy. And she turns from completely passive stage into the next stage, which is called Mahat Tattva, which is the in between passive and active. There is an intermediate stage, which is called Mahat Tattva. And then the material energy gradually, from homogeneous state, gradually moves into stage where all different elements have individual existence and appearance, and then this is the material for creation of our material bodies. All these elements, they combine, and the power behind this, the material desires of all the jivas. We have material desires. We want to have bodies, we want to have material mind, we want to have senses, we want to live our life, to experience things. And material energy and Krishna, they answer to our desires. So, because we have desires, then we get, because we have material desires, we get material bodies, material mind, material identity, and then we are let loose to try to enjoy in the material world. So that's what happens. He is the Antaryami of Prakriti, and he is an Amsha of Sankarsana. These terms will just leave. The second Purusha, named Garbhodakashai, is the Antaryami. Antaryami means like a super soul, the internal observer, the Lord in the heart. Antaryami of the whole of single universe, and is the creator of Brahma. So just like this body is like a universe, small universe, and then we have Krishna who is in the heart. He is the Paramatma, or the super soul of the body. In the same way, the universe is like a gigantic body, and then there is a form of Krishna who is also the soul of the universe. Garbhodakashai Vishnu. He is an Amsha of Pradyumna. The third Purusha, Kshirodakashai, is the Antaryami of the individual Jiva. He is an Amsha of Aniruddha. 6. Among the Gunavataras, Vishnu, Kshirodakashai, is the maintainer of the universe through Sattva Guna. Brahma, who arises from the lotus in the Garbhodakashai navel, is the creator of the universe through Rajaguna. In some kalpas, okay, so if you want to create something, then Rajaguna is needed. Rajaguna means you're very active and you want to attain something and you are motivated. But then if you want to maintain the thing that you created, then Sattva Guna is required, because that means you have to regularly take care of, clean the house, do some repairments here and there which is needed. And this is more difficult because it requires constant, long-term commitment, while building up something requires lots of energy, but it's short. You build something for a short time, relatively. You build a house for 1 year, and then you have to maintain the house for the next 50 years. It's different type of energy and commitment.
Lots of regulation.
Yeah, it requires different type of mind setup. For many people, it's easier to be very active for a short time, but it's difficult to do everyday regulated activities over a long period of time. That's very difficult. Therefore, we visited once one Gurukula in South India, traditional school, and we spoke with one of the teachers there, because there are about 700 boys there studying the Veda from different Brahminical families. There were Shris, Madhvas, Smartas, Shaivites, everybody was there. And we talked to this teacher and we asked him, so what is the curriculum of the school, how you teach the boys, what is their daily routine? And when he explained to us what they have to do, the whole day is just, every day happens exactly the same thing. They wake up at the same time, they do their puja, they worship, they take bath, and then they take bath, and then they do their worship, and then they study for a couple of hours, then they take lunch, then they study again. And if you're not a Brahmana, and if you have to live like this, it's not possible. In Bulgaria, we have an expression, even if you're a dog and you're chained with a chain to an iron pole, then you break the chain, the freaking chain, will leave, you run away from this. It's not possible. Therefore, it requires certain qualification, the maintenance, sattva guna. In some kalpas, kalpa, what is a kalpa? Deya Brahma is called kalpa. So gradually you have to learn these terms now. A Deya Brahma is called kalpa. In some kalpas, a jiva with suitable punyas is Brahma. So we know that usually Brahma is living entity, jiva. But sometimes Krishna becomes Brahma. But sometimes living entity is Brahma. So this jiva becomes an avatara by endowment of powers by the Lord. He is not equal to Vishnu because of his contact with Rajaguna. In some kalpas, Vishnu himself becomes Brahma, just as the Lord, as Yagya, sometimes becomes Indra. So also Indra sometimes is actually Krishna. This also happens.
So what is the rule? Like you have this post in the universe, and
like Brahma, Indra.
Whoever is qualified, he can take the post. But if nobody is qualified, Krishna has to do the job anyway.
And sometimes Krishna is very merciful. He is always merciful, but super merciful sometimes. And then Brahma, for example, he is jiva and he has to do the job of Brahma. But Krishna enters his body in such a way that Krishna actually does the whole thing. Krishna works inside, but the jiva, Brahma, he takes all the credit. He's like the big Brahma and everybody's glorifying him. But actually Krishna did that, does all the decisions, everything is done by him. And Brahma just enjoys. He only enjoys, he doesn't do anything. But it seems that he's doing everything. Krishna does sometimes. We will read about this later. Yes, just like the temple president. Srila Prabhupada said the temple president, he has all the services in the temple. Sometimes he can delegate to other devotees. Okay, you clean the kitchen, you cook, you do the puja. But if he cannot find somebody, then it is his duty to do the services. Therefore, in our temple,
he becomes the cook.
Our TP sometimes he does everything because it's his service. So in the same way, it is Krishna's service to maintain the universe. And if he can find somebody qualified, it is said that the most qualified living entity in the universe becomes Brahma. So if Krishna cannot find such an entity, such living entity, then he has to do personally. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, although I don't have duty, I am always engaged in prescribed duties, because if I don't perform my duty, then the whole world will be thrown into ruination, because everybody will follow my example. So in some kalpas, Vishnu himself becomes Brahma, just as the Lord, as Yagya, sometimes becomes Indra. In that case, Brahma is equal to Vishnu. Why? Because he is Vishnu actually, right? Therefore, it looks like Brahma, but actually this is Krishna. The gross form of the universe from Patala Loka to Satya Loka is Brahma. Hiranyagarbha, a subtle form consisting of all the jivas, is also Brahma. His Antaryami and Lord is Garbhodakashaya. The gross form is called Vairagya, and the subtle form is called Hiranyagarbha. In some kalpas, Brahma is Jiva, and in some kalpas is Vishnu. However, Sadashiva, who is a special limb of Swayam Rupa, is beyond the gunas. He is the Amshi, or the source of Shiva. He is superior to Brahma, equal to Vishnu, and not the same as a Jiva, since the Jiva is connected with the gunas. Shiva is the destroyer of the universe through Tamaguna. So here we're talking about the original Sadashiva, who is equal to Vishnu, and his expansions are the Rudras in the material world, and they are Jivas.
So the demigod Shiva is Jiva,
Yeah,
but the original Shiva in the spiritual world
he is not a Jiva.
Krishna.
Yes.
Sometimes the Gunavatar Shiva is not Jiva.
The Gunavatar.
Yeah. So Rudras generally are, but sometimes they are also not Jiva. The Shambhu Tattva is, that's why there is a separate Tattva category.
This is from Brahma Samhita also. It's
Yes.
a long discussion there.
Yes.
Very mysterious. Okay. Chapter 3. Description of the Lila avatars. 7. The four Kumaras, Narada, Varaha, Matsya, Yagya, Naranarayana, Kapila, Dattatreya, Hayagriva, Hansa, Prishnigarbha, Rishabha, Prithu, Nrsimha, Kurma, Dhanvantari, Muhini, Vamana, Parashurama, Rama, Vyasa, Balaram, Krishna, Buddha and Kalki are the Lila avatars. They appear in every kalpa. But sometimes they appear many times in kalpa, not just once. So we'll hear about this later.
So Vyasa is also considered Lila.
Yeah. But he's Avesha. That means a single power has been endowed to him. Single power. And most of them are more than one power. There will be detailed explanation.
Yeah.
Because inside these little avatars there are also different categories. Some are Prabhava, some are Vaibhava, some are Paravasta. Chapter 4, Manvantaras. 8. The Manvantara avatars are Yagya, Vibhu, Satyasena, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vishvaksena, Dharmasetu, Sudama, Yugeshwara, and Brihadbhamu. So these are the Manvantara avatars. We spoke about this. Very interesting here. Vamana appeared, this is the 7th one. When Vamana appeared, what happened? What Vamana did? He took away the kingdom of heaven from Bali Maharaj and gave it to Indra, to Purandara. This is the Jiva who occupies right now the post of Indra, just like Vivaswan is the sun god. And then this is Vamana, and then next, the 8th, Sarvabhauma, he will do the opposite. He will take away the kingdom from Indra, from Purandara, and give it to Bali Maharaj. That's what will happen, the next one.
And Bali will become the Indra.
Yes, because it has been promised. There is a prophecy, in the movies, there is some old prophecy that God will come and take away the kingdom and give it to the demons. But Bali Maharaj is not a demon, he is pure, one of the Mahajans. In my language we say, Bog dal, Bog zel, so the same. Okay, 9. The Yuga avatars are Shukla, Rakta, Shyama and Krishna. Here Krishna doesn't necessarily mean Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. Krishna just means black because it's one of the meaning of the word is black. So the Yuga avatara for Kali Yuga has blackish.
What form does he have? This Krishna.
Four armed. Yes. Some of these are 10. Some of these are Avesha forms, some are Prabhava, some are Vaibhava, and some are Paravasta. 11. So these are different types of forms according to the quantity of powers and influence and opulence that the Lord decides by His sweet will to manifest. Otherwise, there is no difference. It's the same person. 11. The four Kumaras, Narada, Prithu, and others, Parashurama, are Avesha avatars. So these are Jivas. Prabhava forms are Mohini, Dhanvantari, Hansa, Rishabha, Vyasa, Dattatreya, and Shukla. So these are Vishnu Tattvas already.
So, Aveshas.
Although Rishabha, some, I think, anyway. Jiva Goswami says that Rishabha Dev is a Jiva. But anyway. Yes, Tulsi?
Avesha avatars, they are normally Jivas. Jivas that are empowered with special power. They can be Vishnu, they can be.
Yes.
Entities.
Although Vyasa was also Avesha, but he's Narayan.
Krishna.
Anyway, all will become clear gradually.
Here it's mentioned about, the four, Narada, Prithu and others are Avesha, and Vyasadeva is included in the Prabhava form because he is the Narayana who came for this Manvantara.
Specific. Those with more powers are called Vaibhava forms. Matsya, Kurma, Naranarayana, Varaha, Hayagriva, Prishnigarbha, Balaram, and Yagya. Those with more powers are called Paravasta. These are three in order of increasing powers: Nrisimha, Rama, and Krishna. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, there is no one superior to him. Bas, end of discussion, no more no more speculation. Oh, maybe, no. There is no one superior to him. Mata parataram nanat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Chapter 5. Discussion of the Paravasta forms. Footnote. Laghu Bhagavatamrita is divided into 6 chapters, totaling 438 verses, 435 verses. 835 verses. Of these, 540 are in the 5th chapter, accounting for nearly 2/3 of the entire book. So this is the most important chapter. 12. Krishna dwells in 4 places: Vraja, Mathura, Dvaraka, and Goloka. So then Vraja will mean Gokula, the Balma Vrindavan, right? And Goloka will mean the spiritual world. Krishna, accompanied by his family members and Balaram, is most perfect in Vraja. In Mathura he is more perfect. In Dvaraka he is perfect, accompanied by his family and Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So I think it will be easier if we take it the other way around. So in Dvaraka Krishna is perfect. In Mathura he is more perfect because there is greater possibility for coming closer to him, to be more affectionate, more intimate. And in Vraja he is the most perfect. So he starts with perfect and then he goes beyond perfect. So there is no imperfection. But there is increase of rasa. But since the rasa is spiritual, it's all perfect from the very beginning. Okay, in Goloka, though the form is similar to the perfect form, that form is also similar to the most perfect form, since Krishna performs pastimes there as in Vrindavan. I have to read this one again. Because there is greater and greater sweetness in the forms dwelling in Dvaraka, Mathura, and Vraja, there is less covering by powers and greatness. Because of the decrease in sweetness in Vraja, Mathura and Dwaraka, there is a greater manifestation of powers. So here the criteria is whether there is predominance of sweetness or of majesty, opulence and power. So if there is more sweetness, then we take this as a higher manifestation of God. And if there is more power, then it's more awe and reverence. And we can understand this in our own personal dealings. If there is a great personality and we are somewhere in the periphery of his entourage, then we may have some contact, we may catch a glimpse, he may look at us and say something, but we don't really have a close relationship with this person. So this is how many devotees, they like to deal with God. He is the Supreme Lord and we are servants, and we come to the temple and He's there in all majesty and opulence, and we perform our service, we chant the hymns, and then we go home. But there are other devotees who want to be closer to God. They are not satisfied just to go and see Him once in a day, twice in a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. They want to spend more time with Him. So this is our tradition. We want to break through this covering of awe and reverence and come closer to God and to Krishna, and to understand more about his own personal likings, what he likes to do, what is his favorite animal, etc. So this is a higher understanding and higher practice. Shall we try to... No, we won't be able to finish. Okay. Any questions? Comments?
Can you say that Braja is higher than Goloka because we have his children pastimes, child pastimes?
I don't know so much about higher, but it's the acharyas explained that it's different, and in a sense, in one sense, it has more things that there are in Goloka, because of what you are saying. Krishna actually takes, not actually, but he appears to have taken birth and then he grows, and in the spiritual world there is no such thing. And there are some details here that they are not there. So in this sense, it's a bit, I don't know, higher, but it has special flavor. Higher, if you say higher, it's a big statement.
Yeah,
it's a big statement.
It has to be taken in this way that when he is 16, that age of Kaishorya, it has all aspects. Mm-hmm. Yashoda Maharani still sees him as a child, and then his friend sees him like Pauganda kind of age. They can relate to him, but the gopis can relate to him as the young adult. So it's complete in itself. But from there, then the extra manifestation, it can go through all these three ages in earthly planet. It can go through also, but as a Kaishora form, that's why he is the Swayam Bhagavan, Swayam Rupa. It is perfect. Everybody still relates to him like that.
That's amazing. So that means the criteria for the perfection of the Lord's form is the relationship. He's most accessible to all types of rasas with all types of devotees. So therefore he's the greatest and the highest. That's amazing. All right, thank you. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.